Well, obviously, feel good about what we've accomplished to this point. I told the team that in the pregame last night that they should feel really good about what they had done to that point. But that point is the key word, right? It's all this is very fragile, and it really there's no carryover in basketball. Whatever happened. It's can you recommit yourself to that process, that preparation? Can you stay humble? Those are the questions that you got to kind of have to answer. Recommit yourself every single game to competing with unbelievable effort and execution and togetherness, right? So to this point, I'm pleased, but I also understand how fragile all this stuff is. In this league, it's unforgiving, right? I mean, Kataba's really good. They're on a 4-game losing streak. LR is really good. They won 6 of 7. They had lost their first 4. I mean, you see it all over the place. There's a group of teams at 6 and 5 that are all really good basketball teams. So, again, fragile. Proud of what we've accomplished at this point, but certainly got to continue to work and improve because I think there's a lot of areas we can continue to get better in. Yeah, it was last night was part basketball, part WWE, part UFC. So it was. But look, to JT's credit, in all seriousness, they've got an identity. They're physical and tough, and they just play so hard, and they're gonna throw you around, and depending on how it's called, if they're allowed to do that, I mean they are a load to deal with. But nobody plays harder, nobody plays more physical, and he's created that identity at Tuscaloosa because that wasn't the case before he got there. So credit to him. Coker is a totally different type of game. They're coming off a big win last night against Newberry, beat Wise the game before that. So again, they're trending upwards, 4 and 7 in the league, but have won back-to-back games. Just a team that I think really is competing. You think about, I think you always find out a lot about people when they go through adversity and what happened with Jared. I don't know that it gets a whole lot worse than that. And so you're dealing with somebody that has a life-threatening situation. It's your coach who's young and in shape and has a young family. So I can't imagine assistants got to take over and steady the ship. And so for those kids to respond the way they have is a tremendous credit to Jared and to his assistants that have taken over and kind of steered the ship. So playing well, they play hard, they compete, they're in every game. Down there, you look at the final score, and it was whatever, 92-61 or something like that. It was a 2-point game with 10, 11 minutes to go. They lost to Queens, at the buzzer. Lost to Catawba in a 4-point game. I mean, they've been there with all the teams. They play hard. They play together. They've got some really talented guys. Royce Hunter is one of the better scorers in the league. Chandler Lindsay's a jet at the point guard, and I think Malcolm Kennedy's made 13 threes the last 2 games, 14 threes the last 2 games, something like that. So he's shooting the cover off it. So present a lot of challenges. We'll have to be ready to go and as much as anything physically recover from yesterday, and then try to be prepared as we can from both a freshness standpoint, but also a prepared standpoint in terms of our mental preparation and game plan focus. Yeah, I mean last night was a great example. I think 92 of our 96 points were in that first 5. So it doesn't mean the bench didn't contribute because they did. It was just in ways that maybe weren't shown on the score sheet in terms of points. But no, we've got a pretty balanced team. I think we got a lot of guys that can put the ball in the basket. We got a lot of guys that can shoot it, can handle it, can get in the lane. They are unselfish. They play for one another. I mean, with all the guys, I think, all 5 of those starters have had 20-plus point games this season, right? So they're all capable of going. Each one of them has had at least one, and a lot of them multiple, 20-point games this year. So the fact that they give it up for one another, the fact that they try to make the right play, the fact that they average almost 20 assists a game, I think is really just a credit to who they are as people. This team, once you have talent, which we do, but so do a lot of other teams, we're not going to out-talent people, whether it's in this league or anywhere else. But I do really like this team's competitiveness and their togetherness, right? I mean, I think their will to win, their competitive spirit is tremendous. And their togetherness is really, really good. You know, I mean, they are good about when things are difficult, holding each other accountable, but encouraging each other as opposed to discouraging each other, and lifting each other up and trying to make each other better. And you can see it in timeouts and huddles. And they're a group that really gets along, though. It's a connected team, and it's you know, like I told them, that's the most fun in basketball, when you play on a super connected team that plays really hard and really physical, and these guys play exceptionally hard, and they're super connected. So it manifests itself in a lot of areas. You know, you see it with how they support each other, how they, you know, if a guy gets knocked down, or they pick each other up, you know, how the bench is into the game. And so it's been good to this point, but again, like we discussed, you know, everything is to this point. You know, to move forward and continue, we got to continue to go in and recommit ourselves each day to preparing with a purpose. We always talk about that. You know, everybody's practicing, everybody's lifting, everybody's doing the same, everybody's preparing, scouting, and all that stuff. It's, you know, the old George Washington quote, you know, do common things in an uncommon way and you'll capture the attention of the world. We're not doing anything uncommon. We're doing common things. We just got to continue to be deliberate with our practice, prepare daily with a purpose, go out and try to play with as much, with relentless effort, great execution and togetherness, and then get back, learn from each game, make the corrections, and then windshield mentality, you know, get on to the one that's right in front of us. Yeah, I think combination. I mean, I think you got a lot of places that you can go with the basketball. You got a lot of guys, like I said, I mean, if you count Julius, Cam Calhoun, and Alex Dalling, we have our top 8 have all had 20-plus point games. I mean, not many teams can say that. You have 8 guys that have had 20 or more in a college game. Like I said, a lot of those guys multiple times. I think it's a credit to them taking care of the ball. You know, we play at a pretty fast pace, but we're, you know, first in the league in fewest turnovers, averaging a little over 12 a game, I guess, 12 and a half a game. I think that the guys understand, you know, we always talk about and harp on hunting great. And I think they've done a good job of buying into that, you know, giving up good to get great. They easily make one more as they drive, draw, you know, collapse the defense, and then are willing to make the right plays for one another. And all that factors into it. And then the most important part is you got to have great players, because you can do all the right stuff and get wide open shots, and if you're not making them, you know, it doesn't work, right? So the key component, though, has been just obviously having really gifted players who also happen to be super competitive and unselfish, and that's a rare combination. The really good teams that, you know, we've had here have had that. They've had the talent, but they've had the competitiveness and the togetherness that you need to be elite. And this group has a lot of those same characteristics, but we'll see here as the road gets tougher, you know, if we're able to maintain that.
Thank you, Coach.
Appreciate it.